Hi boys and girls, welcome to week 3 of our summer program. This week, Miss Trish is going to be talking to you about the solar system. So I thought it would be a lot of fun to read one of the Magic School Bus books about the solar system, because we all know Miss Frizzle, she's a lot of fun on her trips, right? It was trip day again in Miss Frizzle's class. Everyone was excited. We were going to the planetarium to see a sky show about the solar system. And then we all know how we have little notes here. So it says, "What is the solar system?" by John. The solar system is the sun and all the bodies that orbit around it. The planets, their moons, the asteroids, the comets, and other chunks of rocks and ice and dust. Class, an orbit is a path or a planet or other object around the sun. I knew that. I get all A's in school. I have 5 computers and my class went to the planetarium last year. Well, Arnold's cousin came to school to visit that day, and she knows everything about everything, supposedly. What a show-off. Thanks for inviting your cousin, Arnold. She's actually nice when you get to know her. There's his cousin. And there's Arnold down there. We tried to be nice to Janet. We really did. As we got on the school bus, we told her that Miss Frizzle is the weirdest teacher in the school, but Janet wasn't interested. She wanted to tell us all about herself. My school is taller than your school. Our swings are better than your swings. My teacher is weirder than your teacher. Who wants a tall school? As usual, it took a while to get on the old bus and get it started, but finally we were on our way. As we were driving, Miss Frizzle told us all about how Earth spins like a top and it moves in its orbit. It was just a short drive to the planetarium, but Miss Frizzle talked fast. This bus is a wreck. At least it started this time. We have new school buses at our school. When the Earth spins, we say it rotates. The Earth makes one rotation turn every day. What makes night and day? The spinning of the Earth makes night and day. When one side of the Earth faces the sun, it is daytime on that side. When that side turns away from the sun, it is night. When we got to the planetarium, it was closed for repairs. Class, this means we'll have to return to school, said Miss Frizz. We were disappointed. Back to school? I'm depressed. My planetarium is always open. Here we go again. Not another crazy trip. See that bus ride? Children were going through the atmosphere, the layers of the air around the Earth. I guess we'll be seeing the solar system after all. My bus has bigger rockets than your bus. Yeah, right, Janet. Why are spaceships launched with rockets? Spaceships cannot just fly into outer space. They need rockets to break free from the powerful grip of Earth's gravity. Gravity is the force that pulls objects toward the center of the Earth. Other planets have gravity too. Larger planets usually have more gravity. Smaller planets usually have less gravity. When the roar of the rocket stopped, we looked around. Everything had changed. The bus had turned into a spaceship. We were all dressed in spacesuits. And we were lighter than feathers, and we floated above our seats. I'm flying! I'm flying higher than you are. Look, it's UFB. A what? An unidentified flying banana. See that? That's pretty funny. A spaceship and the people in it both go into orbit around the nearest planet or sun. When this happens, the people are no longer pulled toward the floor of the ship. So they float around. Can you see them floating all around? It's like they don't weigh anything, right? Far behind in the black sky, we saw the planet Earth getting smaller and smaller. We were traveling in space. We had become astronauts. Look how small the Earth seems from here. Class, notice Earth's blue oceans, white clouds, and brown land. It's beautiful. I think I have to go to the bathroom. Not me. One of the students on the bus. The Frizz said our first stop would be to the moon. We got off the bus and we looked around. There was no air, no water, no sign of life. And we saw where dust and rock and lots of craters. Miss Frizzle said the craters were formed billions of years ago when the moon was hit by the meteorites. They are falling chunks of rock and metal. We are so light on the moon. That's because the moon has less gravity than the Earth. Look how high I can jump. I was in a national jump rope contest and I won, of course. Is there a national bragging contest? It was fun on the moon. We wanted to play, but Miss Frizzle said it was time to go. So we got back on the bus. We'll start with the sun, the center of the solar system, said Miss Frizz, and we blasted off. What makes the moon shine? The moon does not make any light of its own. The moonlight we see from Earth is really light from the sun. It hits the moon and bounces off the way light reflects from a mirror. The moon's orbit. The moon travels in orbit around the Earth, just as the Earth travels around the sun. We zoom towards the sun, the biggest, brightest, and hottest object in the solar system. Jets of super hot gases shout out at us for the surface. Thank goodness Miss Frizzle didn't get too close. You should never look directly at the sun, children. It can damage your eyes. You should never drive a bus directly into the sun either. That's pretty funny. I don't know about you, but I'm not getting on a bus to travel towards the sun, that's for sure. She steered around the other side and pulled away. We'll be seeing all the planets in order, class, explained Frizzy. Mercury is the first planet that's closest to the sun. My school has a heated with solar energy. I have a sun deck. I have 10 pairs of sunglasses. Give us a break, Janet. How hot is the sun? At the center of the sun, the temperature is about 15 million degrees Celsius. The sun is so hot, it heats planets that are millions kilometers away. Mercury was a dead, sun-baked planet. This planet is a lot like our moon. There is no water, hardly any air, said Miss Frizz. Notice the craters in the surface as we pass by. See all the craters? Before long, we felt ourselves being pulled in by the gravity of Venus, the second planet from the sun. Venus was completely covered by a thick layer of yellowish clouds. We will now explore the surface of Venus, said Miss Frizzle. We're gaining weight and we haven't even had lunch. We will be heavier here than on the moon or Mercury because Venus has more gravity. Below the clouds, Venus was as dry as a desert. The ground was covered with rocks and was hot. It was about 460 degrees Celsius. That's much hotter than an oven baking cookies. There's no life on Venus, class. It's too hot. It's too dry. There's too much acid. Let's leave. I've been to Mars lots of times. Just ignore her. The air was so heavy we could feel it pressing down on us. Miss Frizzle said there might be active volcanoes around too. We said, let's get out of here. Our next stop is Mars, the red planet, fourth from the sun, announced Miss Frizz. On our way, we'll be passing through the orbit of Earth, the third planet. The bus lifted off with a roar. If it never rains on Venus, never make rain, Venus clouds? Because it's too hot for rain to form. Any liquid in Venus dries up quickly. I didn't know that. As we came closer to Mars, we passed its two moons, which are called Phobos and Deimos. Compared to our moon, they were tiny and they weren't even round. Phobos are 18 miles long and Deimos are 9 miles long. Here's a volcano here too, boys and girls. Why aren't Mars moons round? Large moons are round because of their gravity. Billions of years ago, when large moons formed, their gravity pulled in their material evenly and made them round. The moons of Mars are too small, that they don't have enough gravity to be round. Looking down, we saw a huge cannon. Miss Fizzle said it was as long as the United States. There was a volcano 3 times taller than the tallest volcano on Earth. And all around there were channels that looked like dried up riverbeds. Ice can be found under the soil. Is there life on Mars? No life has been found on Mars. Living things need water, and there's no liquid on Mars. So space scientists think life probably cannot exist there. We landed and started walking around, and suddenly a huge dust storm blew up. Miss Fizzle said dust storms on Mars can last for months. They may cover the whole planet. We scrambled back onto the bus and headed out. Mars is last of what we call the inner planets, Miss Fizzle shouted. We will now be going through the asteroid belt to the outer planets. Isn't space travel exciting, Arnold? I really prefer video games. What are the inner planets? The inner planets are the 4 planets closest to the sun: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. The 4 inner planets are all hard and rocky. Thousands of asteroids were spinning around us all at once. We heard the tinkling of broken glass. One of our taillights had been hit by an asteroid. Miss Frizzle put the bus on autopilot and went out to take a look. She kept on talking about asteroids over the bus radio. The largest asteroid is only 1/3 the size of the moon. Most asteroids are the size of houses or smaller. Suddenly, there was a snap. Miss Frizzle's tether line had broken. Without warning, the rockets fired up and the bus zoomed away. The autopilot was malfunctioning. On the radio, Miss Frizzle's voice grew fainter and fainter. Then she was gone. We were on our own? We're lost in the solar system. Kids, I'll meet you later. Later. Come in, Miss Frizzle. Do you read me? Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good, boys and girls. Most of us were too scared to move, but Janet started searching the bus. In the glove compartment, she found Miss Frizzle's lesson book. As she began reading from it, a huge planet came into view. Class, this is Jupiter, Janet read. It's the first of the outer planets and the largest planet in the solar system. As we approach Jupiter, we can see some of its many moons. Arnold, are you listening? Boy, Miss Frizzle plans everything. She shouldn't touch Miss Frizzle's things, I'm thinking, but this was an emergency, right? We thought the school bus was going to land, but there was no solid ground to land on. Jupiter is a gas giant, a planet made almost entirely of gas. As we left Jupiter, we wandered and worried. Would we ever get home? What is Jupiter's great red spot? The red spot is probably a huge storm of swirling gas that has lasted for over 100 years. Don't worry, you'll lose those extra pounds soon. Miss Frizzle, where are you? The next sight made us forget our troubles. It was Saturn, a gas planet like Jupiter. I had swirling clouds and lots of moons, but the most incredible thing about Saturn was its rings. It was the most beautiful planet in the solar system. Take a look at that. The floating planet. Saturn is made of materials that are lighter than water. If there were a bathtub big enough, Saturn could float in it. Rocks, ice, and dust in that picture, boys and girls. They say Saturn's rings are made of ice, rock, and dust, all in orbit around the planet. Next was Uranus. a blue-green glass planet with faint gray rings and moons. Some scientists think they might be made of chunks of graphite, the material used in pencils on Earth. Uranus spins differently from the other planets. It seems to be lying on its side compared to the most other planets in the solar system. You look kind of blue yourself. I'm freezing. That's because we're so far away from the sun. The bus was going faster and faster, and we couldn't control the autopilot. We swept past stormy Neptune, another blue-green planet, eighth from the sun. All we could think about was finding Miss Frizzle. How long is a year? A year is the time it takes for a planet to go all around the sun. Neptune and Uranus are so far away from the sun that they have very long years. 1 year on Uranus is 84 Earth years, and Neptune's year is 165 Earth years. We were going so fast we almost missed seeing Pluto and its moons. Charon is the biggest one, and Hydra and Nix are smaller. We were so far away from the sun that they didn't look big anymore. It just looked like very, very bright stars. I don't see anything but stars. Another star may have life on one of its planets. We'll have to wait and see. I hope Miss Frizzle is waiting too. Boy, Janet really saved the day. I told you guys she's a good kid. Janet flipped rapidly through Miss Frizzle's book, and suddenly she found something new, the instructions for autopilot. We punched in asteroid belt on the control panel, and slowly the bus turned around. It's working. We're going back. Beyond our solar system are billions and billions of stars. There are so many stars, they are so far away, that our minds cannot even imagine it. Some of those stars appear to have planets, and some of those planets could have life on them, just like the Earth. When we reached the asteroid belt, there was Miss Frizzle. See her floating around? Hey, that asteroid is dressed funny. That's not an asteroid, it's Miss Frizzle. Boy, am I glad to see her. Me too. With Frizzle back at the wheel, the bus headed straight to Earth. We re-entered the atmosphere and landed with a thump and looked around. Boys and girls, we are arriving on Earth, the third planet from Sun. We were in the school parking lot again, and the rockets were gone. The spacesuits were gone, the bus was a wreck, and everything was back to normal. Thank goodness. Hello, old friend. He sees a flower in the ground. In the classroom, we made a terrific chart of planets and a mobile of a solar system. Take a look at that big chart that they made. And then here's a big mobile of all of the different planets that they explored on their trip, right? The whole solar system. At last, it was time to go home. It had been a typical day in Miss Frizzle's class. Now we had only one problem. Would anyone ever believe us when we told them about our trip? What do you think, boys and girls? Do you think anyone's going to believe them? Well, let's see what some of their parents had to say. We went to outer space today. Of course you did, dear. That's what his mom was saying, right? And there was Miss Frizzle floating among the asteroids. What an imagination, his mom is thinking. My favorite planet was Jupiter. No, maybe Mars. Or maybe Saturn. It was gorgeous too. Mom, make him stop. That's what his little sister is saying. We could have been lost in space forever. Eat your salad, honey. So does anybody think that they really believed where they went? I don't think so, right? Well, I hope you enjoyed the book today, boys and girls, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you soon.